Good morning and welcome to When Pigs Fly. I'm Patty. I'm here with Renee and Tracy. Good morning, ladies.
Morning.
Okay, so today we want to address a subject that came up from one of you in your comments, and we love your comments. Keep them coming. Thank you to all of you who are new subscribers, and we welcome all of you back who've been with us for the long haul. And your comments really do help guide us to what we're going to talk about. And this is your community here in Keep Them Coming. So today, something came up about how do our guides communicate? And especially when you're new in the process, right? It's like, hey, do they send me a telegram? Do I get a certified letter? How does this work? So today we're going to open up this subject, talk about how do your guides communicate? And then also discerning when you're what we call out of the body, meaning, and sometimes that means you're in your head sometimes. So we're going to address those two subjects today. So let's start with how do our guides communicate? Um, and we're going to let Renee start because I can tell hers are communicating with her right now.
Yeah, they communicate all the time. And believe me when I say you can tell them, shut the hell up. Not that they listen, but I have a whole communication with them all the time that I'm like, okay, knock it off. I'm not listening. They don't care because they know I am. So for me, what happens is now when I first started, it started to like I'd ask for help or whatever. And I would they're not listening. They don't listen to me. They don't like me. They can't hear, whatever. Well, then I started to realize afterwards, I realized all the times I was getting messages and all the times I heard. It would come through as matter like I'd ask something. And by the way, if you're asking and you don't get the answer immediately, because it is by the time I'm getting a question out of my head and I'm just thinking it, I don't have to always say it out loud, right? And I'm thinking the question, by the time I'm done with the question, the answer is already coming in. They know it's an energy thing. Okay, so that answer already coming in. If you don't get it immediately, you can say or think, bring it to me clearer. I used to say that a billion times. Like, oh, didn't get it. Bring it to me clear. Bring it up. Didn't get it yesterday. Bring it to me clear. And then all of a sudden, I would get somebody else would say something, or I'd hear the song over and over again, but not the whole song. It would be particular words into a song. All of a sudden, a book would they'd be drawn to a book, or I would open a book, to be reading something, and my eye would go someplace completely different within the book or off to the side, something that was, in the room or whatever. Those are my answers. I didn't realize it because I thought it had to come a particular way. And I thought that they spoke to me like we're speaking. I would hear them like this. People would, be saying, oh my God, I got this message. It was so clear, it was so whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm ready. I'm waiting. My perception was they're going to speak just like this. For me, what it is it will be my own thought in my head, but it's not really my thought. Okay, it's them communicating with me. So it's a matter of paying attention to that, paying attention to songs, to words, where your eyes drawn, what's happening, what's going on, what you're hearing over and over, or all of a sudden what you tuned into if you're watching a TV show or something, what sort of like stood out. Because once I was getting the answers, like once it was a big thing when I was first starting, like, oh, what are your spirit guides' names? What are they, like I really honestly didn't care, but everybody seemed to know their names. I'm like, oh, I better ask mine. Like, right. So I would ask the name, and this name kept coming up. Not that I realized it. It'd come up like in a show or somebody would say something. I would hear it. I'd be in a store. I'd hear the name until I actually got it, until I actually heard, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I've heard this more than 3 times. Oh, that must be their name. And then I realized, oh my God, wait a minute. I heard that the other day when I was asking the question. I heard that name. So you're just not recognizing how it's coming into you or the way it's coming. They're going to communicate with us in so many ways because they're trying to get out of our little blinders of like, this is the way it has to come. They're, bringing it all these different ways. But the biggest thing for me is it's always coming in as a thought. Now, because I've been doing this for so long, now it's almost like it's interesting. I've noticed the last few months, I sort of like look up, like, what the fuck? Like, what? No, I'm not doing that. And, because I'm always arguing when they tell me things like, this is what you're going to be doing. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't like doing that. Like, that's tchotchke shit. I'm not doing that. No. And they'll be like, no, no, you don't see the bigger picture, Renee. This is what it is. So definitely feel free to argue with them. They typically always win, because even times where I'll be like, nope, definitely not doing that, not listening anymore. I'm over it. Later down the road, I'm like, oh shit. Like, had I had paid attention, that would have been quite good for me now when I'm in this shitty situation. So they really come in like so many different ways. Just pay attention when you're asking, you're thinking that, and don't question yourself. Because when you ask a question, start doing like a yes or no or whatever. When you get that yes or no, but oh, I just thought that because I wanted to. No, honor that. The more you pay attention, you honor those little thoughts. You're going to walk out of the house. It's a beautiful day. And you're like, I got to bring an umbrella. Like, I'm not bringing an umbrella. Like, it's, ready. That's not you thinking that. That's you getting a message. And it's that
Yeah.
thought, pay attention, honor that. Whether you use that umbrella or not that day, that could be your spirit guides, the angels, the healers, whoever it is, could be trying. Are you really paying attention? Are you going to listen? Are you going to follow that intuition? Are you follow that gut? Bring it. Because the more you do that, the stronger it comes in, the more you're opening that communication inside. That communication inside, when you say, I'm not doing that, you've just shut down your internal listening and knowing and saying, nope, not gonna, nope, you don't know shit. So I'm shutting you down. Well, that's our whole intuition. That's our whole knowing. That's how we communicate. It's all energy. So it's that whole aspect of the communication for me.
Yeah. Same. Although, mine it's different. Mine comes in a different way. And the it's absolutely an energy, and I get signs, and mine have a sense of humor without a doubt, because sometimes it'll be, okay, I want an answer with this. I need an answer for this. And again, yeah, don't expect it to come right in. That comes with when you begin to trust. The more you trust and follow the guidance, the quicker it comes in, because you're not resisting it and you're not questioning it, but you can have fun with it. Like one day, I remember I was going to the grocery store and I wanted to make quinoa, and I was like, what could I put in the quinoa? And I just asked myself before I went in the store, I said, okay, can I help me out? What can I? And I literally, and I have a pattern. I normally walk to the produce section first. And for some reason, my body started walking to the left. And I even didn't even realize that I'm walking with conviction to this one spot. And right in front of me was a little like uh kiosk, separate, like this portable kiosk that had roasted red peppers and feta cheese. And I went, bingo, both of, and then I realized, oh my gosh, I did ask for guidance. Boom, into the cart they went. That was what, so I have fun with stuff like that. That's easy. And you see what comes up. And like more recently, the word stillness kept coming up. And I think Renee, you and I were talking about this off camera. And I went, gosh, like 3 days in a row in different ways. And it jumped out at me. Like you can just tell it's just something like, why did that word keep coming up? And then an opportunity to do some studying on different ways of getting still. And I was like, oh gosh, well, I already know I have to do that because my guides keep sticking that word in my nose. And I know better than to go, no, I don't want that, and it's like we're still work in progress too, just like all of you. And we're still looking, okay, how can we expand? What else can we learn about to help share information here? And so it's definitely recognizing that it's energetic. Mine definitely throw music references at me all the time. And I just know because I know the lyric of the song, and I'll go, oh my gosh, that's it. And then if you're not sure, I'll say, okay, I need a stronger. Sometimes I'll be like, if you're doubting it, go, show me, give me I'll say, give it to me stronger. And then you get like a blatant, I mean, they'll keep dropping, but you need to be open to it, and not saying, no, I don't want it. And then recognize, okay, it's inspiration. It's an inspiration, like, oh, why does that keep coming up? Like if something keeps coming up, I had a friend that said, this book that's been on my shelf, and I was like, come on, just start reading it. Spare your guides the frustration and pick it up and start reading it. There's something, and it might be that you're supposed to open to a specific page. It doesn't mean you have to read the whole book. And so, you know, that for me, and again, just have fun with it and don't get frustrated. Don't don't get frustrated because you're blocking it then, and try it with little, fun little things. And just to give you an idea, when you pick out your wardrobe in the morning, there that's what helps when you go, oh, what feels good? And just stand in there and you will know. You can touch different things and go, no, I'm not feeling out, not feeling that. You're actually guided in that moment too. When we pick food, what do you feel like eating? You're guided in that moment too. So, Tracy, I'll let you jump in here.
So probably just the same, ask and listen and just keep asking and listening and and then it gets almost just so fluid. I feel like I have a running conversation in my head all day long about like kind of Renee, it's just constantly and I argue all the time. Sometimes I'm like, no, we're going to the table. I want everyone at all the powers that be meet at the conference table because no, this is not panning out like I want, and whatever. As long as you're actively practicing and kind of rolling with the energies, I think it becomes so much more fluid. And then it's just the way you live your life. I don't even remember. Mine started with auto writing. At night, I always get great guidance. I think because energetically the world is a lot stiller. I feel like for me, it comes in better. I meditated for years, but even now, I will, if I want to just watch a movie at night, I really try and intuitively pick and then look for the message in the movie. And I'm not every single time I will get something. And not that you have to every single time, but there's so many, like, picking your outfit. There's so many easy ways. Should I go right or left? There's so many easy ways to practice. And then the more you practice, I would say for me now, it's literally a lifestyle
Yeah.
that I kind of don't even have to ask. Sometimes I like how Renee, how you do it. It's like in your face, you're like, I'm not wearing that. And then I'm always fine, I'll wear it. And then later you're like, oh, I get it. Okay, got it. You know what I mean? And then it's fun. And then as we always say, you bring in the fun and then you just get them, the messages are more clear and they're more expanded. And I will say that was a development for me. It started in 1 or 2 words that I would just write, and then it was sentences and then it was paragraphs. And now it's in like complete downloads that I have to marinate with for a week or so, so it can be that cool and that expansive and extensive. And I'm wondering if you two, for me, I just wrote about it the other day, how the lines are blurring, which means I can't even really, it's almost like we're almost merging with our guides a little bit. We're actually starting, there's not as much of a distinction with the angels and guides. I don't know if you guys, there's definitely this blurring going on, which can be scary because you'll feel it and sense it. And you're like, oh my, we're kind of like in the same energy field right now, which I always tap into the bigger conversation, but that has come online in the past couple weeks, which is super freaking cool.
Yeah.
And a little like, whoa, what is that?
That's absolutely happening. I had a sentence come out of my mouth last week, Tracy, that was not mine. I literally was like, whoa, okay, that was what we were supposed to say right now. And it was, and it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect for the situation where I was going to stop and go, uh-oh, how am I responding to this? And an entire sentence came out of my mouth. And I was like, oh, thank you. But I play with this, like I take them with me. That was how I started because I was like, I always felt like it was okay, they were separate and when does it come in and why aren't they coming in? And then I thought, oh, okay, well, if you're here all the time, so I take them with me. Come on, we're going for a walk. Come on. And it's funny, like the other day, I went to cross the street and someone was coming, they were going to run the red light, and I just randomly stopped. And I had the crosswalk would have been in it. I'm in New York. You're like, you go. When you're in New York, you get it. When it's green, you go. And I stopped. And here came this whoop. And so I was like, oh, thank you. I'm so glad you guys are walking with me. Went about my day. So practice. And I just go, oh, here's where we're going. I tell them where we're going. Here's where we're going. What's in my best and highest good? And you have to go with that. And again, sometimes that doesn't make sense. You're like, ah, really? Really? But I wanted to do, and there's a reason again, it's we can swim upstream and they'll go, okay, well, when you're ready to go with the flow, let me know and we'll put you back in. in the flow. But yeah, I love that. It's
Yeah, I love that. It's so, the thing is, like, don't take it serious, like have fun with it.
Yeah.
And for goodness sakes, make sure you're listening to your thought. You're not saying, oh, they don't hear me. I can't communicate. I don't talk to them. They won't talk to me. When you're saying that they have to stop, they got to back up. That's the thing,
Yeah.
like, even when I was started to, I would hear them, I would communicate all the time. And, I knew people that saw energy, and I was like, why don't I see energy? And later in the day, they were like, really? Like, you always say you don't see. That you start your sentences, well, I don't see, but this is what I'm hearing. So I was like, oh, well, okay. So now what? Like, and they said, do you want us to help you with it? And I'm like, yes, please help me be able to start to see. And they said, you start to say it. And I was like, I can't say it. I'm not seeing. I can't say it. And they're like, you have to start to say it. You have to start to reframe. You have to shift your, thinking. So I said, well, okay, well, help me do that then. Because I'm not going to lie and say this is what I see. Well, I will tell you, I'm talking to a client, and all of a sudden I said, well, what I see is, and I just kept going, like I couldn't stop, because back here, I'm like, oh my God, I'm not seeing. Stop telling, stop. I said, I see. I was having a holy fit. And they were like, just keep talking, keep going. Like, we're getting you stuck in. And I did, like, my brain here, but I was back here, like, just like having a holy fit. And they kept doing that. And I finally stopped arguing with them. I stopped, like, having the fit. And then I instilled the belief, because there was this thing that to integrate the right and left parts of the brain, you do your ankles.
Yeah, you cross.
Yeah, and then you cross your ankles. And then you just keep repeating. Close your eyes. You're not taking everything and close it, and keep repeating until you get it. Now, I knew I got it. Or like, all of a sudden, I'd like sit up and I would be thinking it much stronger. But I always get, like, even if I was like, am I thinking this stronger, or is this how I was? But then I would feel my body, like, all of a sudden, like, boom, like sit up straighter. So I knew I got it. So I instilled that belief. I see, hear, and communicate with angels and spirit guides. My husband walked through that door, like, hours later, and I saw this big, beautiful blue Archangel Michael on his. Now I see the angels as beams of light right on his shoulder, and I was like, oh my God, you've got this big, beautiful angel. And now back then he didn't want to know nothing about this. He's like, nope. So he's like, what did I tell you? Don't talk to me about this stuff. I don't want to know about no angel. I didn't.
And see, what you
talk. Go
I
ahead.
just want to no, I want to just
Yeah.
just to interrupt you for a quick second, because this was, you just made a really important comment here. So do you notice that Renee said she saw a blue light, but energetically she knew that was Archangel Michael? So I just wanted to add that. These are, that's how it comes in.
Yeah.
So you may be already getting guidance that you're right and you're not feel into it. And so, yeah, go ahead. But
that's so true, because I'll tell you, I did not realize in that moment, even though I said it and I was excited about it, I did not realize I saw. We're eating dinner, and all of a sudden it hit me. I'm like, oh my God, do you realize I saw that angel? He's like, yeah, okay, whatever. Don't want to hear about it. I'm like, but I saw. And then what was really interesting was, as the days progressed, I started to realize all the times that I saw before.
Yes.
When I didn't think I was seeing at all. So it really is very interesting. Watch your wording. Watch your thoughts, what you're saying. If you're thinking they're not communicating, they're not going to communicate. And I will tell you, my experience with my spirit guides was they love to have fun. I was not a person that had fun back then. And all of a sudden, I'd like feel my hair being pulled or some stupid thing. I'm like, what? This is freaking annoying. And then they would be, talking and communicating with me, and they thought everything was funny, which I did not. So I finally was like, because this is who I am. I'm like, fuck off. Don't talk to me. I don't want to talk to the spirit guides. I'm going right to the angels, because you guys think everything is funny, and it's not funny. This is life, and life is very serious. Like, that's it. And they would try and like talk, or they'd pull my hair. I'm like, fuck off. Nope. Not listening to you. And remember, they have to honor because of free will. So they would back off. And I just recently started talking with them. And I think, Tracy, because the lines are blurring and everything's coming together. And, and they've said, what's really funny is, and they said this to me, they said, Ray, what's really funny is you say all the time, we're connected, we're all one. It's all one energy. So why do you think we're different than you? Like, we are you. Like, so why? And I was like, wait, what? And so I got to sit with that for a little bit because I know that, but wait a minute. So I'm really calling on me? Am I calling on me for the answer? They're like, yeah. I was like, okay, and I'm still sitting with that one, to be honest with you. Right.
Right.
That's well, and I'm going to loop back around because way back when, people would be like, well, what's your guide's name and are you a star seed and what? And I never asked. And finally, sometimes I asked one of my friends, I'm like, gosh, I just never ask. And she was a direct channel and it channeled through. It's because you want access to everyone because we are all. And I got that whole thing like, I don't want to be a Palladian or an Arcturian or have that guide because I want the expert and the specialist in every moment, in every situation. So they're all mine. They're all my angels. They're all my guides.
Yeah.
And then you get to that next thing of, people, in a past life, I was Athena or I was whatever. And I got the knowing that, well, it's like a library, it's infinite intelligence, and we're all of it. So you just access that consciousness, right? And this is it's all inside of us. So just in my library, that's literally everything that ever was and ever could be. I just need to find it in my internal data bank and then pull up, ooh, past life is Athena. Ooh, pull up Arcturian, which again, Renee, that's a lot to wrap your head around. And I've thought about it many different ways, but how cool is that? Like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're multidimensional, which can really send your free thinking mind into a tailspin. And that's what Tracy's talking about, because we are multidimensional and you're not. And if you get too stuck identifying like one angel or one guide, no, it's just think of the appropriate guides there for you when you need it. Or you can dial them up like Tracy just said. Hey, I'm going to do this. Who's the perfect, right? I have access to infinite intelligence. And so who's going with, and keep it general. And also too, not to complicate it, but as you get into higher realms of consciousness, which is, I think, where we're seeing that bleed, because we have more access now in the human body than we ever did before. So we're getting closer to that realm. Is that as you raise your own consciousness level too, it opens you to even another layer of guidance. Right. And so you don't always have the same guide all the time. It's where you're at in your journey and what you have and what you choose, again, with free will, right? It's what you're ready for at the time. Or if you're completely open, you just play the game. Just
And
have
pay
fun.
attention, like with the angels, what's interesting is they all seem to have a color to them.
Yeah.
So how you know what angels work with you, if you're all of a sudden drawn to a color that you normally weren't, that angel's working with you, that particular color. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, yeah, I'm over that color. I'm into this color. They've changed and shifted. So you're saying, pay attention to that. But going back to what you were saying with, okay, all these realms are opening up. We are actually able to now, and you may recognize and feel this, like almost like you're having these out of body experiences. You're, in this field, you're having this, whatever, this conversation with somebody, and you may feel yourself like, okay, I'm going here, because now we're raising our vibrational rate and we're accessing the energy that exactly what you said, Trace, we're going within, right? Well, you're actually, in a sense, out of body, going out to gather the information within these timelines that are breaking down and pulling the knowledge and the wisdom to not only grab that knowledge and the wisdom and the experience, but in a form, because your system here, there's, showing like, us in this other realm, out of body here, and getting the information, also giving, how is it going to land for this particular person I'm speaking to? How does it, so that's the frequency we're talking about in one of the other podcasts. You're coming in, you'll be saying these words, but this body that is out of body is feeding you the energy, the vibration, the frequency that's coming out, bringing it to that person, so that you both have the same understanding. So when you say, how did you hear that? What'd you hear? And they regurgitate it right back to you, even though you know, well, wait a minute, this person, we're thinking this isn't going to land here. And they regurgitate it right back to you in exactly that manner. It's because you've gone out of body to have this experience to communicate with them that way. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
absolutely, it makes sense to us. It might be,
This
could be one.
but I get it. Yeah.
We're like, yeah,
If it doesn't, or I'm asking, so when I say it doesn't make sense to
Yeah.
people, say in the comment, did that make sense? Do we need to clarify more?
absolutely. Let us know in the comments how this is landing and or what your experience is. What
Right.
we're remember, this is just our experience. Like I know Tracy brought up automatic writing. That is a very common way people first get in touch with their guides. Some use the pendulum. We spoke about the pendulum, and you start with easy yes or no questions, and because you want to make sure you have no bias and you're not in the history files. So there are different ways that you can start to, but again, catch yourself if you're questioning, like if you start to say my guides aren't giving me shit, well, now you shut the volume down completely, or they give you something and then you say, hey, my guide said this, do you think that's true? So doubt is, again, if you aren't clear on the message from your guide, ask them to come back again. Show me in a different way. Show me it again. And that's all I do. If something feels like a faint whisper to me too much, I'll go, okay, I I think it's this, but show me, or am I on the right? Give me a confirmation. And you get it, and the confirmations is usually obnoxious and funny.
No.
Just saying. Because it's so clear that you like literally laugh, and it's like, hey, this is what we're heading to, though. That is like, that's the fun in this journey, is we have access to that and know that, wow, that's where all the goodies come from. That's that's the infinite and wisdom there. And it's fun, and make it fun, and start to make it a relationship. Make it a relationship. And you don't need to know their name and ID number and where they're from and how long they've been hanging around you. It doesn't matter. That's really not important. And there's sometimes where it's very obvious, like Renee was saying, like I know when it's like, oh, that was Michael. Thank you. And it's just a sense. And so again, the thinking mind isn't capable of this. This is your higher mind. This is your higher intelligence, which has nothing to do with your thinking physical mind. And so when you look at it that way, I think it allows you more, right? Allow yourself the grace of getting to know that process and play with it and play with it. And there's definitely different ways of accessing.
And they're saying, remember, the human words want to put names to things. When I asked, one time, like, well, who is this? And, what's your name? Because I wanted to make sure they were in love and light, right? Instead of just saying, are you in love and light? Because they've got to answer you truthfully. And I said, well, who are you? And, what are you doing here? Whatever. And I heard this, I don't know, this clicking and then this high frequency pitch in my ear. And I was like, what the hell was that? And they said, well, you asked my name. I was like, well, no, but I mean a name. Like, I want a name. And they're like, oh, you're looking for a human name. And they said, we've just come to this energy field and we don't have a human name yet. Would you like to give us one? I was like, no. I'm like, I don't care. And they're like, well, you're the one who asked. I was like, oh yeah, like, because I don't really care. Like, my whole thing is like, okay, now, everybody in pure love and pure light come through. And some people will say, well, who do you channel? It really is this collective consciousness of like so many beings. Yeah, that just is so, like, sometimes I say the powers that be, sometimes I just say the guys, sometimes I say the crew. It's just like this collective consciousness of, all of love and light that are here to assist, and they're always changing. New ones are always coming in with all these energy shifts and all this stuff. So try not to get hung up on the name, because that really
Doesn't
can,
matter.
really screw you up. And then if you're going to one particular, okay, you're always calling on that one. To me, you're missing a whole big crew of who may really be able to help you. New energies coming in. You're still focused in on one particular thing, and you're missing the new ones.
Yeah. And many times it is, Renee, right? It's a council being represented
Yes.
like energetically as one.
Yeah.
but it's really a group, and it goes on and on and on. But yeah, you don't, when you get analytical with it, I think you can lose the gift, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Tracy, any thoughts?
I wasn't going to mention it, but I think it is important to always ask for only pure love and light. And I think that's important with even people that you're listening to. There's a lot of people out there positioning themselves. And I would say the energies are changing so quickly. So they might be stuck in an old way or an old energy or an old thought process. But I would say it's beneficial to say, I do that, Renee. Only the highest, purest love and light, only alignment with my highest and best. I'm very careful, but I do a lot of work with grids and stuff to only align with the highest, purest. Because I don't know, this is debatable, but I think there is a lot of trickster energies. There's a lot of false voices. And I mean, human voices and energetic voices. And if you're new, you really need to be mindful of what is truth and what is of love and light. And here it gets very complex and tricky because sometimes our guides we're put in situations that might be a little challenging, but they're for our good, they're for purpose. And that's not discounting that they're putting us in the right direction or doing us good, or it is for the good. And I do know it gets tricky, but I always just bring it back to what feels good, what feels heart-centered, and you really can't go wrong because your guides are going to get you out of any tricky situation, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. Leave
What I
the,
tell them to do.
I,
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%, Tracy, and great, really, really important to designate, yes, in my best and highest good and of the purest and highest of love, form of love available. And it will be, and they know what you're capable of handling in that moment. They know way better than we do. We always think, no, I can have more, and they're going to give you only what you're capable and handle, because you said it's in your best and highest good. And so that's a very important designation to make, Tracy. So thank you for bringing that forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Because, exactly what you said. Because in the beginning, like I remember, because when I started to see energy, then I can see these weird things. And then I would see like this darker, energy come in. And what is very interesting to me was I was like, oh, that's negative. And I remember one of the healers that, was on my side, like really right through me. And they're like, why do you think that that's negative? Can't you see the love? I was like, no, it's dark. Like it's all dark, because my whole perception was, okay, this dark energy comes in. Oh, it's negative. And they were like, no, like that's not, can't you feel the love? It's like, no, it's dark. And then when they said, well, stop and open your heart. And I was so like, oh my God, no, nope, not going to do that because of because my human brain had, thought it was that thing. So then they said, you asked for nothing but unconditional love to come in. Why on earth did you think something else was coming? And when I was like, okay, wait a minute, I'm just take a deep breath. And I took this deep breath and exhale. I'm like, okay, only love, only pure love and pure light can be here. And I looked, and it was really interesting to me that all of a sudden this really dark energy that was there just started to change its color to like this really light, almost transparent, like grayish color. And I thought, well, that's interesting. And that being said, if that's what you wanted to see, then why didn't you just ask me to come in a form that you wanted to see as love? So I was like, oh, but so don't judge the things, but no, do not question doubt it. Know that when you're asking for nothing but pure love and pure light, that's what can come in. And if you want, ask, like I used to, run things through, the hands of God, I would say, because it was just this big, beautiful energy, this big, beautiful iridescent mother of pearl color. It looked like giant hands. And then it would come through. And to me, that was okay. Now I'm safe. If it came through there, then it's okay. And so whatever it is for you, like ask it, to run through whatever, your higher self, your whatever, and it will make sure that nothing's coming in. But yes, I agree with Tracy. Be very cautious. There's a lot of people that are out there in the spiritual realm that are not working with pure love and pure light. It's greed, it's other things. So just honor what feels right to you. Make sure, even if you're they're bringing something forward, make sure that you are asking, I am only receiving all of that of pure love and pure light that is in my highest and best good, or however it is for you. Don't just openly accept anybody or anything's energy, especially if people are listening to meditations, things like that, because yeah, you go into this field. I will not listen to a meditation. If I'm like just going in, I have to sit, I listen to it. I'm like, oh, that is pure and pure love and pure light. I listen, and then if okay, it's what I want to be, then I will be able to just go and relax into it. But don't just openly think that everybody's the pure love and pure light in this field. That's
Yeah,
all I'm saying.
it's true. And you can feel it. But ask and direct it. And if it's not for you, it's not. And be guided when you're asking too. If you're looking for a new meditation, be guided. Be guided
Yeah.
and say what's in my best and highest good. And then you'll let them guide that process for you. But yeah, great discussion. We hope that helped some of you who reached out about guides, how they help us, how they can, make us go, what? And but have fun with it. Don't get too analytical about it. And it's a trust, right? Form a relationship. It is, you're not there, you're not in it alone. My rule with my guides is I never make any big decisions. If it's something that I don't have the answer to, I go, okay, here you go, show me. Show me and make it clear. And you get the answer. Yeah, got patience is patience is involved. But this all works. So thank you, ladies, for another great episode. And again, if you like, hit that like button, share it with anybody you feel this is appropriate to share it with. And then if this doesn't resonate with you, it's okay. We get it. And we have a parachute and a safe landing for you. So I will see you guys next episode. Thank you.
Bye.